What do you think that the general public doesn't understand about drug addicts?
That some of us still have our humanity left. I can proudly say that, I never did anything grimy or illegal to support my habit. I always just found a way, If it had to come down to me asking, look, I'm ill, can you help me out? That's way better in the short term and the long term than, stealing from someone or a company or whatever,
I'm in Far Rockaway on the outskirts of New York to meet someone whose life has been turned upside down by addiction. John is a Pokemon fan and a computer whiz, and he's struggled with drug use for many years.
When I first started out, my drugs of choice were, ketamine, and ecstasy, those fun kind of things. Then in 2011, something hit the streets, not the streets, but the shops, like convenience stores. It was called bath salts. After that, I moved on to other stimulants. I'm still mild to moderately physically addicted to sedatives, right? And if I'm unable to, acquire them, then I go into benzodiazepine withdrawal, which at first it's just, anxiety, can't sleep, and then it progresses to minor paranoia, and then it progresses to delusions, and then it progresses to lapses in memory, confusion, seizures, and if I'm not found or taken care of by then, death.
Have you lost anyone that you know to overdoses?
Yes, a lot of people. Like I said, a lot of my friends are dead.
The opioid crisis may no longer be dominating the headlines as it once was, but more people are dying from drug-related deaths than ever before. A record 107,000 Americans died from an overdose in 2021, and every 3 hours someone dies from an overdose in New York City. Most of those are due to the synthetic drug fentanyl. The city has responded by taking a radical approach to reducing overdose deaths. After a decades-long failed war on drugs, it's one that puts drug users first. Whenever he can, John travels from his home to East Harlem to visit a place pioneering a new approach. OnPoint is one of 2 overdose prevention sites in New York that allow drug use on site. They are the first of their kind in the US.
In a sentence, we love on people who need to be loved on, and we humanize folks who have been dehumanized. As we say, there's no war on drugs, there's a war on drug users.
Here, the NYPD has agreed not to enforce drug laws. Illegal drug use is allowed under the supervision of workers trained to prevent overdose death.
In this room, overdoses look a lot different than they look anywhere else. We're with people as they're using, so we respond to overdoses much quicker than anywhere else. So a typical overdose response out in the community looks different than in here. I'm using the mirrors on our booths to monitor our participants. I'm looking in their eyes, looking for discoloration of face and lips. We don't want anything turning blue, losing color. I'm looking for eyes rolling back in the head, mouth ajar, and then also arms extending down to the side, body kind of folding on top of itself. All these are classic signs of overdose. What an opioid overdose is, it's lack of oxygen to the brain. Your central nervous system slows down, eventually you stop breathing, and that's when heart attack, brain death, seizure, all that stuff happens. If we get an oxygen mask on them really quick, that's all we have to do. Pump some oxygen in them when they're still breathing on their own.
Yadea says this place gives people a second chance.
What's the main benefit of having this place here?
One, you stay away from the law. 2, which ultimately should be 1 actually, is that it saves lives and it gives you a chance. Well, it gives you a chance at life again, So, and then you don't have to deal with the general public and people that look down on you that don't actually deal with substance abuse in this way.
As well as supplying sterile syringes that are safely disposed of, OnPoint allows people to test the drugs they're about to use.
I took them over, led them over there. They tested their bag. They saw it had an 18 to 24% fentanyl. That is really, really high. Our average is 3 to 9%. So we're seeing almost 5 times the amount of a normal bag. So with that information, we were able to empower him to use the safest it could be. We broke his dose into 5 doses. We started with 1, see how we felt, and moved on to the other, you know?
So for people that wouldn't know, that's a kind of percentage that would really harm someone potentially, right?
Definitely.
And potentially kill them.
Definitely.
Since opening, the centre has intervened in more than 600 overdoses and has not seen a single death on site.
Yeah, so we have an overdose happening right now behind me in the corner, and it's a really good example of how awesome this space is, right? We responded to it so quickly. All we have to do is put an oxygen mask on them, get them to take some deep breaths, and that's going to be the extent of the intervention. So we're monitoring them until they're up, they feel comfortable walking around, talking to us again, and then once they're done in this room, I'm relating them to all our other services. I'm sending them to holistics, go get some acupuncture, to our mental health counselors, just to watch TV in the drop-in center, right? So when people are feeling ready to go, I'll discharge them out into another service.
Executive Director Sam Rivera says it's not just about stopping deaths, it's about giving people their lives back.
What's beautiful about the room is the community. It's the love in the room. It's the caring in the room. It's this transformation of humans, right? We're working with people who have been dehumanized. There is no drug war in this country. There's a war on drug users. So when you go in that room and you get to see beautiful people being loved on, it touches my soul, man. It really hits me, because that perception again, that we're enabling drug use. Are you kidding me? You know what I see? I see people using less because they're in a room talking with each other. They're not hiding in a corner or in a bathroom somewhere, using quickly, using in a way that's unsafe. But we used to get, send them to detox, send them to treatment, it'll fix them. Well, first of all, every participant, 100% of them, have been to detox and treatment. 100% of them. And we're not saying it doesn't work, but we know that for most people, it doesn't work the first or the 4th time. We are here in the interim to keep them alive.